Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Friday, December 28th. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Shout out to all my lokes, to all my brother veterans out there, and to everyone in general. Hope you're having a wonderful day and blessings to all. This is my first upload to YouTube, but I'd like to talk some about UFC 232 and Jon Jones. I could talk for a long time on this subject, but the point I really want to get to is, man, does the UFC look bad in this whole deal. Jon Jones is now popped for prohibited substance, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times. Cocaine, clomiphene, T-ball, and T-ball, or Tyrannoball. Listen, people, let's look at Jon Jones' character. The guy drove intoxicated, wrapped his car around a pole, hits a pregnant lady, flees the scene with drugs and money. He takes illegal drugs. There's constant accusations of him with other women. This guy doesn't have the best character or reputation. Now, I can't judge. I'm guilty of doing a lot of the same things that Jon Jones has done. I'm not above him, but I'm not a professional fighter on the biggest stage in mixed martial arts doing this stuff. There's a certain level of accountability that you have to have when you're in that position. And Jon Jones has screwed the pooch. He could have been known as the greatest mixed martial arts fighter ever, but now we know him for all of this other stuff. What I want to speak to is, why didn't the UFC let Jones take the fall? Listen, with all this stuff going on, the UFC looks bad. Nobody's buying the narrative. The excuses are push-offs with lack of accountability to other people, to the scientists, to the experts. When everyone with common sense realizes that you don't pee clean for 8 tests and then pop on another test with higher metabolites than you did a year and a half ago. We're not dumb. We have brains. We can think. And if you think that you're going to pull that over us, we're not stupid. Like a month back, Brock Lesnar, another big cash cow money maker, one of his tests got lost. And then it was, we just miscounted the number of times he's been tested. Bull crap. Jon Jones has gotten slaps on the wrist for other things that would have gotten people lifetime bans at this point. With this 4th offense, Jon Jones should have gotten a lifetime ban. A minimum of 4 years, but a lifetime ban. Because of this, the UFC didn't let Jones take the fall. It was a bad call. It was a very bad call. From the UFC's perspective, they've lost a lot of their pay-per-view stars. They made this ESPN deal, which was good for them, but they still have pay-per-view as one of their ways to make revenue and make their capital. And pay-per-view has been dying off for a while because they have very few big stars. Ronda's gone. Connor's fought once in 3 years. Jones, how many times has he been off? Besides that, who is really a numbers puller? There's not a lot of them. The UFC would spend more time and promote some of the other people there that are talented. They would do better. But they seem to stick all their apples in one basket with a few people. If Jones had got a lifetime ban, the UFC were thinking about how many fights left this guy could have. John's only like 30, 31 years old. He could have another 10 fights. And Jones pulls anywhere from 500,000 to, right up under like 800,000, 750,000 pay-per-views. He's not as big as Connor or Ronda or Lesnar, but he is a pretty big puller comparatively, compared to like, a TJ Dillashaw, which gets 200,000. You know, 750 is way more than that. And 50,000 pay-per-view buys over 10 more fights. That's a lot of revenue for the UFC. It's a lot of advertising. It's a lot of money coming in. So the UFC not seeing any other stars right here. They took the short term, and what they tried to do is they tried to use a hurry-up offense on us. They've had these results since December the 6th, but they only moved the event and informed the public 6 days out. They tried a no-huddle, hurry-up offense. They tried to get this thing happen so fast and so convoluted that we didn't have the time as fans and as the public to process what's really going on here. And guess what? It failed on them epically. The majority of people now see through it all, and they see that the UFC has some corruption. That the whole testing USADA thing isn't above board. Now I'm going to defend USADA for just a minute here. People are dissing out on USADA. All USADA is a testing agency. They take the blood, they take the urine, they take it back to the labs, they process it, do their tests, and report on the findings. USADA did their job here. They processed the test, they reported the findings, told them, hey, there's Tyranobol in there. From here, the narrative and the consequences really are above USADA. I think USADA can put out recommendations. They have guidelines, but it's really the UFC who should impose suspensions, but never does. It comes down to these state athletic commissions. Those are the ones that impose sentences. Now, somehow, the narrative coming from Jeff Nowitzki, and they're saying USADA, because he's the representative, but he was an employee of the UFC, is that it's a leftover metabolite. Well, USADA looks bad there. They did report the metabolite, but I don't know if I buy that whole narrative. I think it's what Jeff Nowitzki and Dana White are selling us. And it's not going over well. Nobody's buying it. Everybody realizes after 4 tests failed that Jon Jones is a cheat. He's a drug cheat. And in this situation, instead of letting Jon Jones take the fall and lose all that endorsements and all that money, they backed him, and they backed the wrong cow. They backed the wrong guy. Because now Dana, Nowitzki, the UFC, somewhat USADA, and the California State Athletic Commission have all lost credibility. They're showing the consumer that it's not about keeping a clean sport. It's about who can ever make the money. They're backing that person. All these other fighters got screwed. The fans who came in from Sweden and Brazil and had rooms and tickets and thousands of dollars in expenses and airplane costs just got shitted on. Straight pooped on. And there's really no apology from the UFC. They could have easily dropped Jones, had Gustafsson stay on, and pull in another top 10 contender. I guarantee you there's somebody within the top 10 who could have made weight and fought Gustafsson. Absolutely. But they backed Jon Jones because controversy sells. In doing this and having this narrative, I personally believe, and I'm saddened and sickened by it, that there are going to be more buys on this fight because of this controversy. People now want to see Jones lose, myself included. Now, I hate to do this personally, but I will not be purchasing this fight. I'm not supporting Jon Jones. I'm not supporting the UFC in this decision. I feel sorry for Amanda Nunes and Chris Cyborg because they're not getting my money, and I know they get cut on the pay-per-view. But you guys decided to fight on a card with a cheat, and they could have stood up to the UFC too. I know that's a hard position to be in. I can't say I would do it. If you need the paycheck, you need the paycheck. If you're not a company man, you can get screwed. You can get cut. You get put on bad cards. And these people wanted to be on Jon Jones because it's going to draw more money. They're trying to put money in their bank account for their family and for their future. So I understand that. But at the same time, when you do that, you're making money more important and you're condoning the other actions that are going on here. It saddens me. Dana looks awful. When Ariel Helwani was questioning him yesterday at the presser, asking who the experts were, and he kept passing the buck to Nowitzki, asked Nowitzki. Nowitzki was on Rogan and really didn't explain anything. We're not stupid. You can't test clean 8 times and then have a higher level of metabolites than you did a year and a half ago in your system. We're not stupid. But they're playing us like we're stupid, and some people are buying this. The people that are buying this, I hate to say, don't have a brain, are very, very ignorant, or they just don't want to see it because they're so blinded by the star power of their favorite fighter. I mean, Jones is a tremendous talent. But take away the PEDs and how good is he? We saw when he returned to fight OSP. He might have even been on the juice then. He was jacked for that fight. Didn't look great. Jones is beatable, and Gustafsson, the first fight, showed us that you can beat Jones. He is beatable. Jon is juiced for this fight, though. Gus is at a big disadvantage. I'll almost guarantee that Jon Jones' post-fight drug tests, he will pop again for Tyrannobol, and they will run this same narrative that it's the same metabolite in his system, that it's not a re-ingestion. And that's BS. It's total crap. And we're not buying it. We're not going along with it. And we're going to stand up and say that we're not sheep. We're not stupid. And the UFC needs to get their act together because they're losing fans. They are losing fans. I used to buy every single pay-per-view. I have not bought the last 3 for one reason or another. The UFC just, right now, they don't deserve my pay-per-view money. I pay for a cable subscription so I can watch Fox and watch the fights on there. And I have a Fight Pass subscription there. Between the two of them, that's $50 a month. Plus another, that means I'm paying $100 a month to watch UFC. And when they're going to treat us like this as consumers, I'm at least cut that back. I'm probably going to cut my Fight Pass. And I might cut my cable access that has ESPN and Fox on it, though I probably won't because I'm a sports fanatic and I do like watching other sports, basketball, football, baseball. I like it all. But this is a very bad look. I would not be surprised if after this whole thing, if Dana White in the very near future isn't asked to go ahead and retire. Because nobody believes anything that Dana says anymore. He blatantly lies. He is a total D-bag, straight up. He's a rich D-bag, and I can't say I wish I wasn't the D-bag he was. I mean, he has access to lots of money, fame, power, dare say it, women, ring girls. Come on, man. He's living the dream to some extent. But he's a dirty guy. And the WME realizes he's a dirty guy, and they're letting him take the fall to some degree, because I bet you bottom dollar this isn't all Dana White. WME wanted Jones on this card. This isn't Frank and Lorenzo. This is a whole board of people that are entertainment moguls. And they're the ones that are really calling the shots. Dana's just a figurehead. But I guarantee that probably before, if after this look, if things don't repair, if they don't mend, if the UFC doesn't mend some things, and they have any more bad looks, Dana's going to be asked to go ahead and retire. And they're going to put another face in there. They're going to try to change the look. Just like when they brought USADA in, they need a new look because nobody's buying this anymore. the fiascos with the Dolly and Connor and Khabib jumping out of the cage and all this junk is not, we, as a purist mixed martial arts fans, we're not down with all this. We just want to see the best fighting the best, and the best aren't fighting the best anymore. The most popular are fighting the most popular. Rankings mean nothing. Weight classes, they jump all around like now, they really mean nothing. They're just trying to create fights that'll bring more eyes. And in doing that, they've lost, you know, really the hardcore fan following the coverage. A lot of hardcore fans have fallen off. We started watching Bellator and ONE FC. I'll tell you what, right now, Bellator's come a long way. They've got a lot of great talent now. They've got some good guys. They got some good guys they've created in-house. They've got some of the second-hand guys from the UFC, but they've got some first-hand guys from the UFC, like Gegard Mousasi. Gegard Mousasi may very well be the best middleweight in the world. Put him versus Robert Whittaker. That's a tough fight for Robert Whittaker. I'm a huge Robert Whittaker fan. He's probably my favorite fighter right now. But I will say that I would probably give the edge to Mousasi in that. So, say that to say that Bellator's come a long way. And recently picked up the ONE app. If you don't have it, it's free. Go to your app store, download it, and all the content is 100% completely free. And you get to stream it live or watch it back like Fight Pass. And there's no monthly streaming fee. There's no pay-per-view. You just get the app. You watch the fights, you enjoy them. And they have a high level of talent over there. They're getting a lot of the Asian talent because the UFC hasn't become a predominant force over there. ONE is the biggest force in Asia. And they also pull in a lot of Soviet fighters, and European fighters. They got people from India, I mean, all over Asia. Chinese, Japanese, Russian, you name it. They've got a high level of talent over there. And they put on some good fights. It's got good production value. And I like how they mix up their cards, too. Not only do they have MMA fights, but they also have Muay Thai fights going on. They mix in there. And they have some mixed rules fights. You'll see kickboxing matches with the small 4-ounce gloves. You'll see the large gloves sometimes. You'll see the small gloves sometimes. And you'll see different rule sets, which I kind of enjoy. And mixes this up. If you just watched a Wrestle Hump MMA match, which I'm not a fan of, and you've had guys laying on top of each other for 3 rounds, it's nice to see them 2 strikers come in there, keep it on the feet, and go to work. And their kickboxers are very, very high level. I'd say they're probably as high level, maybe just a notch off Glory. Glory might be a little bit more talented, but I don't know. They're pretty comparable. They've got some great kickboxers. They got some great MMA fighters. And with these recent acquisitions, like Eddie Alvarez and Demetrius Johnson, and they've got Misha Tate over there doing work now. She's going to help. She knows a lot of people in the industry. There's going to be fighters going over to ONE. Sage Northcutt, I believe, he might have gone to ONE. So they're picking up some known fighters from the UFC. And then it's going back and forth. The UFC isn't the only game in town anymore. ONE is going to be giving them a run for their money here. And you're not getting all the drama and all the BS with them. You're getting respectful fighters putting on great fights, and it's not costing you anything. Why not be a fan of that? I absolutely am. I encourage others to be a fan, and I can't wait to see some of these DJ fights. And I'm a huge Eddie Alvarez fan too. Love to see him fight over there and see how it goes. So, and wrapping this all up though, this was a bad look for the UFC. It was a bad look for the UFC. They should have never backed Jon Jones. They should have let that guy go down. Because now, like the press conference yesterday, it was all this ugly narrative. And Dana looked bad. Nowitzki looked bad. John looked bad. Cisak looked bad. Nowitzki looked bad. And for once, I can't believe I'm saying this, the Nevada State Athletic Commission looks good for a change. They weren't willing to burn their credibility on this one. So, and there's some shady things they do. They've made some shady calls. They've let some shady things go on. So for them to say, we're not touching this with a 10-foot pole, much respect, NSAC. I'm glad that somebody stood up for what was right in this whole deal. And for all you guys out there still going to buy the fight, that are still going to enjoy the fight, I'm not looking down on you. I'd love to see this fight too, but I just can't in good conscience condone it with my money. If I don't get rid of Fight Pass, you get the pay-per-views a month later. So it'd be on this is the 20, I guess it's going down on the 29th. So on the 29th of January, I'll be able to watch this fight if I don't pull it for my $10 subscription, which I kind of do want to see this, but we'll be able to catch the highlights at least on ESPN and be able to, if you go online, you can get some live reactions from some different sites like Fights with Friends or one of my favorites, MMA Holes. You might not like it. It's a little silly, but it's entertaining. I thought it was off the wall ridiculous at first, but after watching it for a while, it's just a community of MMA fans who like to watch the fights together and just be silly. It's one of the few places you can go, and the people in the chat room are legitimately friendly and nice. There's not a bunch of trolling going on, but it's more like a big family, and you get to know the other people on there, and I've even made some Xbox friends from there. So anyway, if you got anything to say about this whole situation, please feel free to comment. We'd love to see what you guys got to say, and hope you have a good day. Take care. Bye.